U.S.-Canada Trade War Update, April 2025. As of April 15, 2025, U.S.-Canada trade tensions remain high. It began in early March 2025 when President Trump announced universal 25% tariffs on all imported steel, aluminum, and automobiles. That means every country, including Canada, Mexico, the EU, Japan, and South Korea, now faces the same penalty. He also added a 10% universal tariff on most other imported goods. While he paused some reciprocal tariffs for 90 days, that pause does not apply to Canada, so the full 25% tariff still hits Canadian steel, aluminum, and auto exports. Canada didn't back down. On March 4, Ottawa responded with 25% tariffs on $30 billion in U.S. goods, everything from orange juice and wine to peanut butter, appliances, and cosmetics. Then on March 13, they targeted another $29.8 billion in U.S. products like steel, electronics, tools, and sporting goods. And on April 9, Canada launched a focused counterattack, a 25% tariff on non-CUSMA-compliant U.S. vehicles, and on the non-Canadian, non-Mexican content of CUSMA-compliant ones. So if 40% of a car is U.S.-made, the 25% tariff applies to just that 40%. If it's fully non-compliant, the entire car gets hit. They're also working on a remission program to reward companies that manufacture inside Canada. But this trade fight quickly got political. In February, Trump dropped a bombshell saying, if people wanted to play the game right, it would be 100% certain that Canada becomes the 51st U.S. state. He added that Canada could not survive as a country without U.S. support. Prime Minister Trudeau snapped back immediately, saying there's not a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would ever give up its sovereignty. That moment triggered a wave of resistance. Canadian nationalism surged overnight. Polls show that 76% of Canadians are now boycotting U.S.-made goods. Apps like OSCanada and MapleScan are trending, helping shoppers find Canadian-made products. Social media is lit up with posts that say, "Buy Canadian, not American." Canadians are canceling trips to the U.S. Tourism data shows that Canadian visits to the U.S. are down 32% in the first quarter of 2025. Part of that is protest, but part is policy. As of April 11th, any Canadian over age 14 who stays in the U.S. more than 30 days must register with Homeland Security. They have to submit Form G325R online, or risk a $5,000 fine or even jail time. That's a major shift from the old 6-month allowance. The Trump administration says it's about national security. Critics say it's punishment for Canada's pushback. Even the Canadian Snowbird Association is demanding an exemption. So what's next for Canada? They're turning outward. Fast. Trade with Japan is surging under CPTPP, topping $13 billion in exports last year. With Europe, trade passed $100 billion in 2024, and leaders are working to deepen cooperation on energy and technology. With China is more complicated. In late 2024, Canada imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, accusing Beijing of dumping subsidized cars into the market. China hit back with tariffs on Canadian canola, peas, and pork. But Canada isn't backing off. Two massive LNG projects, LNG Canada and Cedar LNG, are launching exports to Asia, including China, by mid-2025. They were built with buyers in Japan, Korea, and China in mind. So even as diplomatic tensions rise, trade routes are opening. And the U.S.? They're turning more and more to Mexico. In fact, Mexico is now the largest trading partner of the United States. U.S. firms are shifting manufacturing south to reduce costs and avoid disruptions, especially in autos and electronics. It's all part of what Washington calls a friendshoring strategy, keeping supply chains closer and more secure. So while the headlines talk about tariff pauses and negotiations, the reality is this: the U.S. and Canada are in a full-blown economic standoff, and both sides are quietly building new alliances to make sure they don't get left behind. But there's still one glimmer of hope. Prime Minister Mark Carney confirmed that formal trade talks with the U.S. will begin in May 2025. He called it a chance to build a new economic and security relationship. The agenda includes steel, cars, energy, and agriculture. It won't be easy, but it's a start. So while Washington plays hardball, Canada is pivoting. New partners, new strategy, and a loud, unified message to the world: Canada is not backing down. If you enjoyed this short update, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you.